Okay, digital IDs, they are starting to connect to more and more parts of everyday life. And it is raising some interesting questions. Like imagine you wake up one day and something you rely on, it just doesn't work anymore. And not because it's gone, but because the access to it has changed. Like your payment, a service, something basic, but now there's a new requirement, a new verification step. And suddenly, something simple isn't so simple anymore. And that's how this starts, right? Like it's not all at once, but it is little by little. Things that used to be simple, they start running through digital identity. Not just logging in and not just proving who you are, but accessing parts of everyday life, even everyday essentials. And not because everything has changed, but because things are starting to shift around us. And you can already see pieces of this happening in small ways, more verification, more steps, more systems connecting together. It's nothing super extreme yet, but it is enough to notice. And when more and more of those systems connect, it changes something important. Not overnight, but like over time, right? Because the more access runs through identity, the easier it is to shape how that access works. Even small changes like a delay, a restriction, an extra requirement, it can have a bigger impact than most people expect. So here's the real question. If you choose not to tie yourself into a centralized digital identification system, and something got restricted, how would you still function day to day? And I think that's really like the key point here. We cannot predict perfectly when it's all going to happen, but we got to make sure we're not stuck when things shift, right? Because we can already see where things are heading. So instead of getting caught up in all of that, I think it's worth it just to step back and ask, like, where do you still have options? Like even small ones. Like for example, think about how you usually pay for things. Most of the time, it just works until it doesn't. And when everything runs through one channel, one method, one system, that's when even a small disruption, it can become like a real problem. But if you've got more than one way to handle things, even something simple, you're not stuck in that moment because you can just adjust. It's the same idea with information. Right now, almost everything sits behind a screen, like your contacts, your directions, important details, and it feels normal until you can't access it when you need it. Even something small like not being able to pull up a number or an app not loading, it can slow you down more than you would expect. So it's worth thinking about what you rely on that only exists digitally. And then there's like the local side of things, right? Something a lot of people are now starting to pay attention to, where things actually come from, not from the big systems, but the local ones, like the people nearby, the small shops, the farmers, because those layers don't always show up on a screen, but they're still there. And in a lot of cases, they're the ones that keep things moving when things get complicated. And this is something a lot of people are starting to see. The system doesn't have to fail completely. It just has to stop working for you. So even having like something as simple as, your preps, having extra on hand, it can change how you handle that moment. And not because you're preparing for something extreme, like, people want to say the shit hits the fan moment, or like it can be anything. But you don't have to be forced into an immediate reaction because you got time. And time, it gives you options. And over time, this all starts to stack because you just need to adjust a few habits. You rely a little less on one path and you build a bit more flexibility into how you live. Nothing dramatic, but enough that if something shifts, you're not scrambling. And a lot of this only really stands out when something changes, or access gets a little harder, or something that used to be optional, it now starts to become expected or mandatory. Because in those moments, options matter more than anything. And if you've already thought it through, you don't panic, you just adjust. Like, think about this. If you choose not to, let's say, okay, you choose not to sign up for a centralized digital identification, but let's say you rely on, the government system for anything, but you have to now sign up for that centralized digital identification system in order to receive those benefits. What do you do? I don't know. I think it's a really important question that you have to ask. And I think it's something that we really need to take a look at. Like, you look at India right now, they are forced to have a digital identification to access food, right? Like digital tokens, etc. Do you think that that's going to come to North America? I don't know. I think it's something that we have to be really, have to really be aware of. Back in the 2020 days, and people had to sign up for that, that shot. You had to have the identification to get into places. So, and if you didn't do that, your life was a little bit different. I know my family's was a little bit different for a while. So it makes you wonder. Anyways, before we wrap up, guys, if you haven't already, check out preppingcommunities.com. Membership is free, and it gives you access to groups and discussions. And if there isn't a group near you, you can create one. There's also this huge, full posting directory, 10,000 postings, and it's organized so you can actually find what you need: gardening, food production, water, energy, off-grid information. It's all just practical info that people are actually using. And honestly, this is the whole idea behind the platform, because once you start thinking and looking at things this way, you realize it's not just about what you have, but it's also about who you know, because everything else can build off that. People sharing ideas, asking questions, and working through real situations together. There's also Prepper Watch. That's the news and awareness arm of the platform, plus maps, interactive maps, quizzes, training events, just different ways to learn, connect, and stay prepared. Just people helping people figure things out, because when things start to shift, the people who already know each other aren't starting from ground zero. Anyways, I didn't want this video to be about fear. I just want it to be about awareness and making sure that if digital identity expands into more areas of life, you still have options, because at the end of the day, I really do think options are everything. Anyways, guys, thanks for spending a few minutes with me today, and I will see you in the next video.